Welcome everyone. In today's video, we're talking about the top 5 best faith builds for Elden Ring Shadow of the Earth Tree, which is just coming out in 2 weeks. Yeah, I think it's a bit more than 2 weeks coming up, but yeah, I'm super excited. There's amazing gameplay already, new 8 categories, couple of things, and in these builds, I'm going to show you what we can go to and strong builds where it's definitely also fun to play. So I'm not only focusing on the strongest build itself, it is also more focusing on a bit like more fun as well. And also some variety, like we don't want to have like one build for an entire game, which is always like the same. So there's a bit of a variety in this, especially in terms of the weapons. So yeah, starting off first with the first build, which is Crucible Tree, which I think it is kind of more like a cosplay. Can you say that it's a cosplay here? So we're using the Crucible Tree armor, and seriously, it's one of my favorite armor in the game. I mean, look at it. It just looks amazing, especially with a suitable spear, which is the Crucible Tree +9. I don't have it +10 because, I mean, it's not my favorite weapon, but it is a good weapon and one of the best in Faith. You can also change this weapon and do the Ordovi's Greatsword with the Crucible X helm or X armor. It really depends on you, but because I use the spear, it's a bit of a variety, and it's not always like greatsword, so we have some variety. So starting off first with, except the armor and the weapon, we also use the Earth Tree Seal +9. That's the seal which we use for all our builds, for all our faith builds, because it is the best you can have in the game. I don't see a point to update it on +10 because I prefer to use the Somber Smithing Stones for something else. Somber Ancient Smithing Stones. But yeah, otherwise, if you're in a New Game Plus, whatever, feel free to upgrade on +10. I am just a New Game Plus and normal New Game, and I just wait for DLC. So after that, I'm going to New Game Plus. For the talisman, we use the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman. This one is optional, but I would highly recommend it because it's one of the best talismans we can use, and you can include that in literally every build. We use the Shot of Alexander to boost our attack power, Ritual Sword Talisman, and Sacred Scorpion Charm because we want to raise holy damage. Similar to our flask, always when I use a holy weapon, I have the similar ones, which is the Surreal Hidden Tear, eliminates all FP consumption, and the Holy Shouting Crack Tear, so we boost our holy damage. And for incantations, I use the similar ones, which is mostly Blessing of the Earth Tree, Golden Vow, Protection of the Earth Tree, and Black Flame Protection is just for protection purposes. Flame Grant Me Strength is just if I'm like poisoned or rotten, I can use it immediately. Flame Cleans Me. So, I mean, Flame Grant Me Strength is for the power, and Flame Cleans Me is for the rotten. And similar Lightning Spear, Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike, and Lentex Glaive is for the Faith build. I don't really see a big reason to change that, because in my opinion that's the best in terms of Faith. So we are mostly focusing on the build itself and the damage, and mostly the weapon and the armor and the talisman. So the spells stays the same in the entire 5 builds, because I don't really see a big point to it. And yeah, so starting off first in this build, after we going to buff ourselves up. So use Golden Vow, Flame Grant Me Strength, and yeah, so when we, for example, have an enemy like this one here, I'm just going for a short notice. Oops. So we could lose Lightning Spear. We can also use... Oh, it's pretty good damage though. 2600, yeah. So as you can see, it is a good weapon. If you want, we can also use Short Playthrough, Golden Vow, Flame Grant Me Strength, Flash of Numerous Physics, jumping in again. Come on. Oh, come on, are you kidding me? Highest damage. Oh, okay, I mean, maybe because I didn't hit him. 2,700 and also received a bit of damage. So, pretty good damage. Also, like for smaller enemies, this one is actually probably nearly too overpowered. 3,000 damage because of Holy. The other one I have for Holy Resistance actually. 3,000. 2,500. So as mentioned. So for a second build, this one is kind of similar in terms of the talismans. There's not a lot of variety because in my opinion that's the best we can have. I just changed the armor. Later on we kind of switch, so the first top 3 are Holy, and at the end we kind of switch more to fire damage. So continuing further, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is coming out in 2 weeks and you can get 23% on instantgaming.com. Link is down below in the description. It doesn't really matter if you want to play on PC, PS5 or Xbox Series X. You can get all the keys on instantgaming.com. And also Instant Gaming does provide a 24/7 customer support. And we have a 4.7 stars on Trustpilot with over 700,000 reviews. I mean, that's crazy. And also upcoming games like God of War Ragnarok can also be owned and pre-ordered on instantgaming.com, and we already have a 22% discount. And the good thing about Instant Gaming, the games are straight from the reseller, so everything is 100% safe. So click the link down below in the description and get your keys. And thank you very much, Instant Gaming, for sponsoring this video. And now we continue in the gameplay. The problem about these enemies here is these ones have Holy Resistance. So, but otherwise you can see we already dealing pretty good damage. I don't really want to go through all of the ways of like using off the spells because I find useless. But the good thing about this build is we have a really good L2, we have a good attack, we have good range to hit like an enemy. We don't really need to target. Actually also pretty good poison as well. Actually not even that much FP consumption, which is also pretty good. And now coming to one of my favorite builds actually in the entire Elden Ring game. I call him the Golden Knight, also Golden Paladin. And also I think there's one of the nicest armor you can get in the game, similar to the Crucible Tree. Yeah, also the Beast Champion armor and the Hoslo Helm. That's my favorite armors, but here we are focusing on being gold. We have kind of similar steps. One thing we could change if we prefer, we can use also the Godfrey icon, enhance charge spells and skills. Yeah, depends really. I prefer to use the Ritual Sword Talisman, but this one is optional as well. Similar, it stays. The difference with this build actually, it has a better chance of like hitting big enemies. So with that we have a way better damage. Also for smaller enemies here, we really don't see any problem. So even if you want to target, we have like a crazy damage. We can buff ourselves as well. This weapon is insanely good. I think this weapon is kind of like underrated. Like a lot of people don't really use this weapon. You can farm it in Leyndell at the first entrance when you go out, and you can also when you're already in Leyndell Ashes of the capital. You can also farm in the Harlic tree. You just need to farm the big white things who shoots the bubbles. And there's 3 different ones. We have one's the small one the middle, and one of the larger. All of them are not too bad actually, but the last one is actually the best. Like the middle one is actually the best. It is a great hammer, I think, yeah. So, because first of all, we have one of the highest damages, as you can see here. We have one of the highest damages, it is actually on a similar level into when we buff this. It has even higher damage as the Blasphemous Blade. The reason for that is, yeah, strength dex is actually weaker, but the overall damage is stronger, but only in the character status. Fire is still having a better damage than Holy, but otherwise this weapon, also in terms of how it looks with all the golden style, kind of perfectly suitable for a Faith build is actually perfect. And coming to the second place, one of my favorite builds actually. I mean, the armor is not my favorite, but it kind of represents it perfectly with the fire dragon type of style. I love this build, and also the weapons. They are really hard to get, the Magma Blades. They're really hard to get. They have 2% drop rate, and when you kill the first one, the second one gets even more difficult. So for the first one, I think it took me 45 minutes, and for the second one, even after 3 hours or 4 of, no, maybe 2 or 3 hours of farming, I haven't received it. What I did instead is I got on a second character of myself, done it again in 45 minutes for the first drop, and then just changed it to this account. So that's how I get both of them, similar to the talismans. So Millicent's Prosthesis, Shadow of Alexander, Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, and Fire Scorpion Charm. That's the perfect ones. We changed here. I mean, we can still, if someone is preferred, can have the Dragon Crest Gracie Talisman, but if combining these talismans together, we have the highest amount of damage. We doesn't have bleeding damage because it's a fire weapon, so we don't need anything in terms of like bleeding resistance, bleeding damage. So what we can do instead, if we are lucky again, we just make it like super crazy. Flame grant me strength, Golden Vow. Only difference what we are doing here is we need to change to to our fire flame sharding cracked here. So we're going to buff ourselves. I just keep it in red because it just looks cool. So we're not using the Earth Trio. So jumping down here. So just jumping on here, we're having a huge amount of damage. This is just ridiculous. It's like two-handed weapon. Like, if you want to go through this game, is it bosses, is it enemies, you will just hit everything. And we didn't even use, like if we use the L2 attack, then we have the lava on the floor, which even gives additional damage. I mean, like, how crazy is that? So we can also, for example, have the one thing here. But like, this weapon is completely overpowered. And it looks cool. It looks kind of like the God of War style from Kratos. So it's actually perfect for this. And I think even in the DLC, like, I don't even think that in Shadow of the Earth they would stand any chance. Like, I mean, look at that damage. And I think for the best build, which doesn't change so far, and the top number one is for sure everyone knows, Blasphemous Blade, best weapon in the entire game. Also with health regen. I don't think there's anything better in this entire game, which I also kind of like is so this is actually my favorite build in terms of like how it looks, and it's just perfectly suitable. This weapon doesn't really change much. I think we all know it's the best weapon in the game. Talismans are similar to the first one. Instead, we use Fire Scorpion Charm because the fire damage, Flask of Wondrous Physics stays the same. Damage is just ridiculous. With this weapon, we even get health regeneration when we, for example, use all of the buffs together. And we use the Flask. And whatever enemy we are hitting, whatever boss fight it is, it doesn't stand a chance at all. Everything is like one hit. Even that was just like 4,500 damage. I think we're all pretty sure that this is the best build we can do in Elden Ring. Hopefully change in the DLC, and there's better weapons we can also use, because after a while, in my opinion, it kind of gets boring. Because this weapon is just like, it is just like a cheating. It is like the easy version of Elden Ring, or it's the easy version of Souls games. So nothing, like even bosses, like if you want to one shot, two or maximum is 3 shot every boss, buff yourself up, and yeah, that's the best way to beat this game in the fastest amount of time. So, thanks so much for watching this video. Leave a like, a comment if you like this top 5 build series, and if there's anything else, I'm probably including that as well, and see you guys in the next video. Bye.